UPR Blu Thunder shifter. Let's get it. Welcome back to another video here at chrisrodproductions, Productions, and if you haven't already, be sure to leave a like on this particular video, and if you are brand new here, welcome from your boy to you, and hit the sub and or follow button down below. Today, what we're going to be pretty much doing is swapping up the shifter from, our 1998 Mustang Cobra. And if you guys are looking for a more in-depth view on how to actually change your shifter, I got a longer video. It's going to be something along the lines of for performance Hurst short throw shifter, something along the lines there. There'll be a card right up above, but check that video out so you can get a more in-depth view. And if we take a look inside the car, we can clearly see that we have that Hurst Ford performance shifter right in there. And to be completely honest with you guys, there is nothing at all wrong with this shifter. It is a great shifter to have, but now we're switching things up when it comes to our 1998 Cobra. We pretty much got this Mustang right in front of us, and it's not looking really modern whatsoever. And now with the year 2025, we're pretty much going to be changing up the style of the car. So we're no longer going with this old school look. And one of the first steps that I have is pretty much taking care of that shifter. So no more old school look with the Hurst shifter, even though I love it. But now we are introducing the UPR Blu Thunder shifter. And to be honest with you, I don't know how long this shifter's been out. But I will tell you that I could have sworn that I purchased the shifter with blue coloring instead of billet. I don't know what happened there, but this is gonna have to do. This part number 300201 should have came with something called the Extreme Shifter Handle, but instead I somehow still got the Trick Stick Shifter handle. I don't know what any of it means. Why is it the way it is? But let me show you what's nice about the Trick Stick handle. So the Trick handle pretty much allows you to have full accessibility for your own personal preference as to how you want the handle to be positioned on the shifter. So see how these holes are lining up? You can install it like this, you can install it like that, and you can even install it like this. And the way that I'm going to be installing the Trick handle is pretty much going to be like this, and that main reason is because I'm going to need as much of the handle to be closer to me as much as I can. Now, as far as all the parts and pieces that we're going to be using to complete this install, we pretty much have our plastic scraper to remove the current gasket maker that is on the shifter currently on the car right now. We're going to be using some RTV, well, this is not RTV, or I guess you could say it's more gasket maker, but red temp gasket maker for the nice heat coming from the transmission. We're definitely going to be using probably a 3/8 and or you could even use a 1/4 inch socket set with a 1/4 inch and or 3/8 ratchet. We also went ahead and made an Amazon purchase, and that particular purchase was the shifter cup. And what we grabbed was the what's this called? It's called the Coxulium bronze shifter cup, and basically it's a bronze shifter cup. And to show you what I mean when I say shifter cup, this is pretty much that cup that goes into the pivot ball down here, which goes into the transmission. So instead of having a plastic one, we're going to see if this brass one fits nice. And the additional piece that we grabbed from Lethal Performance as well is going to be this UPR shifter knob, billet style. Part number is going to be 1008-301. Check that out, and we're going to have all this married together when it comes to the shifter install. And just so you guys know, everything that I have here that I'm using in this video is going to be in the links in the description down below. That's also including my affiliate links for Amazon, so go ahead and check that out. But now, let's stop the yapping and let's get ready to install the shifter. And the first step that we got going on is to remove the old shifter. Look at this dude. Yo, look at his face, dog. He looks scared. So real quickly, before this video continues, I just wanted to let you guys know, pretty much the shifter that I did get is the shifter that I ordered. Turns out there's two different part numbers when it comes to the Blu Thunder one and then the billet Blu Thunder one. So I didn't know that, but I got it. I like it. So let's continue with the video. And if you're liking this so far, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get it. First steps that you're going to be doing when it comes to removing the shifter from the car, you want to make sure, or it's a good habit to have your car in neutral. So clutch in, put her in neutral, and then what we're going to be doing is simply removing the shift knob. You're going to be taking out the trim bezel and as well disconnecting the cigarette lighter port in the back of that bezel. And if you're unaware of how to remove these items in particular, just turn the shift knob counterclockwise, pry your fingers on the bezel, push up, pull them from the tabs, and then the connector in the back, just disconnect it with a simple plier. I think it's like a little tab. Push in and remove it. The next thing that you do once you have all that bezel and so forth removed is pretty much take the boot that's within this particular part of the car. And you can take that out by simply removing the 4 bolts, which are located right there, 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 and then one right under here. There you go. And once you have those 4 bolts removed, just pretty much kind of dig in there and kind of twist up a little bit that boot. It's going to be a little tricky just to try and get out. So twist it up a little bit and just pull from the boot, and as well as, you know, the frame of the boot. You'll be able to get it all out in one piece. Now that we have the bezel removed, we are now ready to take out the 4 bolts that are holding the shifter to the transmission. That's going to be located right there, there, one that's all the way in that corner, and as well that left corner right here. So now that we got the 4 bolts removed from the shifter to the transmission, now we're pretty much ready to remove the shifter. But in order to do so, it's still kind of stuck in here a little bit. So easiest way to remove it, because there's RTV or gasket maker on the shifter, give it a good old whack, and pretty much there you go. It's away from the shifter. So just pull it up, and there you have it. And once you got the shifter off of the transmission, your next step is to pretty much get rid of all this gasket maker that is currently on the transmission. And the best way to go about it, you're going to take a microfiber towel, right? You're going to pretty much jam the microfiber towel completely into the bowels in here of this transmission. And the reason you kind of want to jam it in there a little bit is pretty much because as you're scraping off the existing gasket maker, you don't want any of that to kind of fall into the transmission. So having that microfiber towel is going to be a good asset when it comes to removing that gasket maker, so it doesn't go in your transmission and possibly ruin it. And here's how I'm going to have the microfiber towel placed onto the transmission, so that when I go in with the gasket remover, which is going to be the scraper, it's going to scrape this off, and if a little piece falls out, it'll fall onto the microfiber towel, and that will pretty much grab it. And when I lift the towel up, it'll grab every single bit from it. And then you go in with that plastic scraper, to be exact, and plastic just because you don't want to gouge anything in this transmission. It's aluminum, metal, you can pretty much gouge it unless you're actually aware of how to go about it when you use a razor blade to take gasket maker off of it. And just to show you how easy it is, and I can use all the pressure I want, check this out. So we're starting right here. All that gasket maker coming out with ease. And it's pretty much as clean as it can be. Just do that all the way around. Now that I got a big chunk of the gasket remover off of the transmission, the last thing I have to do is pretty much take a paper towel, hit it with some brake clean, and then clean away every single last bit of the gasket maker. And then once you complete that, then we're ready to put the new gasket maker on there, and then ready to get the shifter installed. Now that we have our mating surface completely clean, we're pretty much ready to do 2 things, and that's put new gasket maker onto our mating surface, and as well remove the shifter cup, which is right there, this little plastic piece. Just remove it, put the new one on, and then as far as the gasket maker, have a nice bead of it going all within the inside of the particular mating surface of this transmission. So within the whole bolt holes as well. So we'll show you that in a sec. So here's the gist of what I was talking about when I mentioned putting the gasket maker within the bolt holes. So just pretty much put it within the inside of the bolt holes of this mating surface. So now that we got the gasket maker set, is this a good job? In my opinion, yeah, because it's going to do exactly what I need it to do. And that's seal this up and have no transmission oil leak out of it. So that's set, and as well, we have our brass shifter cup right there in the center, so we're good to go. So now I'm pretty much ready to install the shifter into the car, and a couple things that I already did is going to be putting the handle onto the shifter, and as well, I completely backed out both of our stop points for our shifter. So they're backed out all the way because we had to end up adjusting the shift points, you know, to the actual car. They're like lockouts, so we'll show you that in a sec. And now installing the shifter, we pretty much want to meet our pivot point right into the cup, and then from there, put it onto the mating surface, tighten up all the bolts, so you're pretty much all set. So you pretty much have the majority of the shifter on, as far as when it comes to, you know, the shifter itself. So I'm not a fan of how deep this is, so I'm pretty much going to remove these bolts, or loosen them up, remove one of them complete, and actually adjust it to where I like the setting for how I'm going to shift. To adjust the particular lock bolt or nut, however your shifter has it, or if maybe you got this one, for the top one, which is right over here, you want to set it into 3rd gear and then adjust it accordingly, but I can't really show you that. So I'll show you with the 4th gear option. Putting it into 4th gear, and you pretty much want this bolt to be, you adjusting hole. You want the bolt to be just touching the shifter, and then once you have it touching the shifter, you want to back it out about a half to a full turn. Just to put it in perspective, we still have it touching the shifter right now, but I want to back it out, so I'm going to loosen it. That right there is about a half, and then from that half, I'm going to just move this about a quarter roughly. So if I'm looking at this right now, quarter is going to be right about here, and then from here, I'm going to tighten up the nut into this particular bolt or this set screw and then lock that in place. And now we've officially adjusted the lock bolt. So now that I have everything adjusted, I'm pretty much ready to shove everything back into this car and we're going to see the final product. And there was no need for me at all to record everything of putting it back in. So check this out. And here we have our final product when it comes to this UPR shifter. And for me, this feels kind of good. It's very different compared to what I'm used to, considering that I had the Hearst. So this is going to be a nice different drive, and I can't wait to start beating on this car with this new shifter. And with all that being said, if you guys found this video enjoyable and or helpful in any kind of way, be sure to leave a like, and don't forget for your boy, be sure to join the click by simply smashing the subscribe button, and as well as with the notification bell. Until then, it's my boy Chris Rod, and I'll see all you beautiful people in the next one.
La maltrate, no es simplemente una mata. Préndele, do cacha y sube para la nube.